Count Dooku looked at the floor at his latest victim in Anakin Skywalker, who had slid perfectly next to an equally unconscious and defeated Obi-Wan Kenobi. His reverie is broken by the sound of a distinctive cane behind him. Turning to see the diminutive figure of Grandmaster Yoda, Dooku's path out from Geonosis had just become a lot tougher. Using the Force to unhinge two wall fixtures and then drop parts of the ceiling, Dooku fails to make an impact on Yoda. Following another failed attack of Force lightning, Dooku ignited his blade. Yoda twirled his own lightsaber into his hand, and the former master and student frantically duelled. The duel is short, and Dooku, sensing he couldn't get the upper hand and only needing to leave, displaced a large power column towards Obi-Wan and Anakin. Yoda is forced to abandon this duel with Dooku to focus on bringing the column to a stop, just managing to avoid crushing Obi-Wan and Anakin by throwing it to the side. By choosing to save the two Jedi, Dooku slipped away and rendezvoused with Sidious. But what if Yoda killed Dooku? How would this change the plans of Sidious? Would Grievous still be recruited to a commander of the Separatist droid army? As you are about to hear, the early demise of Dooku will alter history. Clashing blades with Dooku, Yoda danced around his former apprentice, using his agility and speed to try and find an opening. Jumping onto several walls, Yoda knew that Dooku was merely wanting an escape, and Yoda had to end this soon. Sacrificing the speed of his hits for more power, Dooku was taken aback by Yoda's sudden burst of aggression, forcing him back towards his ship. Dooku lifts the fallen wall mountings and directs them towards Yoda, but the Jedi sliced it cleanly with his lightsaber. Redirecting the parts to Dooku, the Sith elegantly dodged them, but it results in dents to his ship. Dooku retaliated with another force-augmented attack, this time with a variety of rocks. Yoda diverted the rocks to the base of a power column, breaking its foundations. On this occasion, the Sith Lord cannot react, and watches in horror as the column collapses onto the ship, and then himself. Yoda rushes over to check the fate of his former apprentice. He had only meant to distract Dooku, but the column had squashed him into submission. Despite Dooku falling to the dark side, he cannot help but feel slightly saddened at the death of Dooku, and the consequences of his failure as a teacher. Pushing Dooku and his ship over the edge of the crevice of the cliff face, Yoda tended to the stirring Anakin and Obi-Wan. After being collected by a Republic gunship, the Jedi fly back to the Jedi Temple, gathering to discuss the events on Geonosis. With the death of Dooku, their plan to capture him for information had been thrown out. Their only lead was what he had told Obi-Wan about a mysterious Darth Sidious controlling the Senate. They would need to investigate immediately before this Darth Sidious covered his tracks and gained another apprentice. Elsewhere on Coruscant, the now hunted Darth Sidious was most displeased. Although the war had begun as he had planned, he no longer had an apprentice. He had felt it in the Force. It should have been a relatively easy mission, but somehow Dooku had fallen, probably at the hands of an esteemed Jedi. He could easily obtain a report from the Jedi Council later about the fate of Dooku, but his priority was to get his grand plan back on track. And for that, he would need to complete a project that Dooku had monitored closely. Making the journey to his home planet of Naboo, Sidious secretly met with Dr. Nuvo Vindi, who had been attempting to recreate the Blue Shadow virus as a biological weapon. Sidious is pleased with the progress the evil scientist has made, converting the previously waterborne virus to one which was airborne. Taking a sample of one of the bombs, Sidious left the laboratory. Before heading back to Coruscant, the Sith Lord had an inkling that he should not leave just yet. Taking his ship to the secluded lake country, he landed on a large hill and left the bomb aboard before walking down towards the small island of Arrakino, the home of the Naboo family. Slightly confused, the Sith Lord was surprised to see the Jedi Anakin Skywalker. Waving from afar, Anakin greets the Chancellor and introduces him to the Naboo family. Sidious did well to hide the revelation of Skywalker's attachment to Senator Amidala, as this was definitely something he could use to his advantage. With their honeymoon period drawing to a close, Palpatine invites Anakin and Padme to a ship onto Coruscant. The newlywed couple accept the invitation and agree to fly with their friend. Sleeping aboard the ship, Anakin suddenly woke up. Walking to the rear of the ship, Anakin's curiosity was increasing with each step. Using the Force to open the latch to a compartment, he saw a sinister looking canister. Anakin is bemused and decides to examine it for later by pocketing it. He did not want to aggravate the Chancellor by warning him of a potential bomb on his ship. Arriving safely on Coruscant, Anakin and Padme part ways, with Anakin going to the Jedi Temple and Padme to the Senate building. Back on the ship, Sidious is furious. The bomb he had received from Dr. Vindi had disappeared. Retracing his steps, it must have been taken whilst he was stationed at the Naboo house. He had not detected any ill intent from Skywalker and Amidala on their journey back home. He was now devoid of both an apprentice and a potential war-changing weapon. But he had not finished yet. There was still the matter of an even more dangerous weapon. Back in the Jedi Temple, the Council are examining the bomb, floating in the centre of the room. With help from Master Jocasta Nu, they are able to determine that it was a variant of the Blue Shadow virus, which had plagued civilians thousands of years ago. With it being planted on the Chancellor's ship, the Jedi immediately pointed to the Confederacy of Independent Systems and Dooku, making it more important to search Dooku's home planet on Sereno. Obi-Wan and Yoda go to investigate, boarding a small freighter at night and smoothly arriving at Dooku's palace. Yoda sits on the floor and meditates, whereas Obi-Wan examines the area. Both are able to conclude that a Jedi had been here before and headed into Dooku's palace. The throne room is their target, and placed on the large slanted table was half a vial of blood. The Jedi are extremely concerned. Searching elsewhere, they gather up any other artifacts which could be useful. But as they prepare to leave, they hear a large thumping sound on the palace doors. The Jedi use a lightsaber to break open a vent which connected to the outside, and they peer around the corner of the palace wall. There stood Chairman Hill of the Intergalactic Banking Clan, just entering the building. The two Jedi re-enter through the vent they had created and look into Dooku's throne room from his bedroom. The chairman was speaking to the hologram of a hooded figure, explaining that the vial was not here. The figure of the hologram started to choke the life out of the poor chairman, informing him that it would be his final failure, before vanishing into thin air. The chairman falls to the ground, and the Jedi rush to his side. With his final breaths, he tells them that the vial of blood had belonged to the Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas. The Jedi quickly jump back to Coruscant, armed with this potential significant piece of information. Holding an emergency council meeting, they summon former Supreme Chancellor Finis Valorum, and he points them to the planet of Oba Diah. Yoda and Obi-Wan this time are joined by Plo Koon, again without telling the Senate, and go to meet the Pikes. The Pikes direct the Jedi to a prison cell, and to Silman, who had been Valorum's personal aide. Silman struggles in his explanation of events on Felucia, but slowly reveals that Sifo-Dyas had been killed by Jedi Master Dooku. Bidding Silman farewell, he's suddenly shot by a blaster bolt to his chest. The Jedi look up and find themselves facing droids from all directions. Yoda creates a hole in the ceiling with his lightsaber, and the Jedi propel their way out. But the roof is also littered with droids. Deflecting their hits with ease, Plo Koon powers his way through, creating a path for Yoda and Obi-Wan, eventually finding the location where they have parked their freighter. The freighter is not there, however, and the Jedi are forced onto the defensive again, whilst they try to find transport over the planet. Escaping towards the spice freighters, the Jedi manage to negotiate the Pike Syndicate and hide aboard a ship carrying containers of spice, finally shrugging off the droids. Once in the air, the Jedi are fortunate that Master Voss and Ayla Secura were stationed close by, and were able to collect them. They had both abandoned their mission to Kamino, upon reports from the Council of an infiltration of the Jedi Temple's medical center. Yoda, Obi-Wan and Plo Koon all knew what the miscreant was looking for: the vial of Sifo-Dyas' blood. Their cruiser travels to Coruscant as quickly as possible, but the pain and noise of death was potent. The 5 Jedi all jumped from their ship to the temple courtyard and entered the medical center. The surviving healers report that a hooded figure moved to the industrial district of Coruscant. The Jedi reorganize, with some remaining on the ground and some taking to the skies. They just missed the ship flying into the atmosphere, but are able to use their off-world Jedi to discover a landing on Geonosis. Almost all of the Jedi Masters find themselves on the rocky planet. Like their previous adventure on the planet, the rocky landscape was covered with droids, but this time, the Jedi were much better prepared. Allowing the clone troopers to gun down the battle droids, most of the Jedi Council lowered themselves into the infamous catacombs, igniting their lightsabers to enhance their view in the tunnels. At the front of the group, Yoda finally stopped and deactivated his blade, and the others followed suit. In front was not another network of corridors, but a bright room. Yoda levitated himself and glided towards the room, which he established to be a laboratory. The Jedi again follow his lead, curious as to what was inside. A group of Geonosian scientists was surrounding a totally broken body of Grievous, alongside the hooded figure they'd been chasing across the galaxy. The figure handed over the vial of Sifo-Dyas' blood to the scientist, and lifted his hood, revealing Chancellor Palpatine. Yoda and the Jedi did well not to react, and instead, Force grabbed the vial from the hands of the scientist. Palpatine and the Geonosians turn around and sound the alarms. The torrid sound of wings and humming tortured the ears of the Jedi, and they locked themselves into the laboratory. Deciding that they should kill Palpatine first, the Jedi tried to battle the Sith Lord, but the distractions of the Geonosians was making an already difficult duel impossible. Yoda, however, was not a Grand Master for no reason, and having had the foresight to bring along the biological bomb, ushered the Jedi out of the door, and into the hive of Geonosians. Sidious was puzzled that Yoda would dare to face him on his own, but his features flickered in panic at the sight of the bomb, before somersaulting out of the room, and locking the door with the Force. Sidious was using every Force technique he could to create a hole in the room and escape, but the virus had spread fast, and soon, all of the laboratory's occupants were killed. Turning back to the Geonosians, despite initially struggling to adapt to the assortment of weaponry, the Jedi find their way out, even managing to help an exhausted Yoda back to their ship. Yoda sat aboard the medical bay in their cruiser, recuperating the energy he had expended. Reflecting upon recent events, he concluded that the unfortunate death of Dooku may have not been unfortunate after all. That is it for what if Yoda killed Dooku on Geonosis in the Attack of the Clones. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, and if you are new to this channel and my other channel, subscribe for more tips, as 77% of you are still not subscribed. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.